The office was quiet that afternoon, the only sounds being the steady hum of my computer fan and the occasional rustle of papers. The door to my office was slightly ajar, allowing the faint murmur of voices from the living room to drift in. My teenage daughter, Jessica, was chatting with her friends, their occasional bursts of laughter punctuating the low hum of conversation. I was absorbed in my work, focused on a spreadsheet on my screen, until a casual remark from Jessica made my blood run cold. "Yeah, my mom's been taking money from my dad's accounts for years," she said, her voice light and dismissive. Asterisk, she says it's no big deal, but I think she's just addicted to shopping or something. Asterisk. My fingers froze over the keyboard. The words echoed in my mind, sharp and unrelenting. Patricia, my wife of nearly 20 years, had been stealing from me for years? A wave of nausea rolled over me, followed by a surge of hot, uncontrollable anger. I wanted to storm out of my office and confront her immediately, to demand answers. But I forced myself to stay seated, taking deep, steadying breaths. I couldn't let Jessica know I had overheard, at least, not yet. The rest of the day passed in a blur. I tried to focus on work, but my mind kept circling back to Jessica's words. How much had Patricia taken? How long had this been going on? And how had I not noticed? That night, as I lay in bed beside Patricia, staring at the ceiling, my mind raced with questions. She looked so peaceful, her breathing slow and even, as if nothing was wrong. How could she have hidden something like this from me for so long? The betrayal gnawed at me, keeping me awake long after she had drifted into sleep. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I called in sick to work, telling Patricia I wasn't feeling well. As soon as she left to run errands, I locked myself in my office and started digging through our financial records. At first, everything seemed normal. Grocery store purchases, utility payments, occasional dinners out. But as I dug deeper, unsettling patterns began to emerge. Large, unexplained withdrawals. Transfers to accounts I didn't recognize. Expensive purchases from high-end stores I had never stepped foot in. My stomach churned as I tallied up the missing money, thousands of dollars, gone. And that was just the beginning. Next, I moved on to our credit card statements, and what I found left me reeling. Patricia had opened multiple credit cards in my name, maxing them out one by one. The balances were staggering, and the interest alone was enough to make my head spin. I sat back in my chair, overwhelmed by a mix of anger, disbelief, and hurt. How could she do this? To me. To our family. That evening, I sat Jessica down, my heart heavy. I needed to know what she knew. At first, she hesitated, her eyes darting away from mine, but eventually, she admitted the truth. Patricia had been taking money for years, using it to fund her shopping addiction. Jessica had known for a while but had been convinced by her mother that it was normal, necessary, even. "You wouldn't understand," Jessica whispered, her voice trembling. Hearing those words shattered me. Not only had Patricia betrayed me, but she had also manipulated our daughter into keeping her secret. I felt an overwhelming need to protect Jessica, to shield her from the damage Patricia had caused. But I also knew I needed to confront my wife, and I had to do it in a way that left no room for denial. Over the next few days, I meticulously documented every instance of theft. I printed out bank statements, credit card bills, and screenshots of her online shopping accounts. I even consulted a lawyer, who advised me to open a separate bank account in my name and transfer my paychecks there. I needed to protect myself, and Jessica. Then, I set a trap. I moved a significant amount of money into a new joint account, one Patricia didn't know about. I knew she wouldn't be able to resist. And sure enough, within days, the money was gone. I printed out the transaction history, my hands shaking with a mix of anger and grim satisfaction. Now, I had undeniable proof. The confrontation happened over dinner, with Patricia's parents present. I wanted witnesses. I needed them to see the truth. As we sat around the table, the conversation light and casual, I calmly brought up our finances. Patricia's face froze for a fraction of a second before she forced a laugh. Asterisk, what are you talking about? Asterisk, she said, waving a dismissive hand. Asterisk, you're being paranoid. Asterisk. Without a word, I reached into the folder beside my chair and pulled out the stack of documents. One by one, I laid them on the table. Bank statements, credit card bills, screenshots of her shopping accounts. Her laughter died instantly. Her face paled, then flushed red with anger. Asterisk, how dare you? Asterisk, she spat, her voice shaking. Asterisk, you've been spying on me. Asterisk. The room fell silent. Jessica sat frozen, her wide eyes darting between us. Patricia's parents exchanged uncertain glances, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. Keeping my voice steady, I laid out the facts, the thousands of dollars stolen, the credit cards opened in my name. Patricia's anger quickly turned to desperation as she scrambled for excuses. But the evidence was undeniable. In the end, she stormed out, packing a suitcase and declaring that she would get what she deserved in the divorce. I watched her go, feeling an odd mixture of relief and sadness. The woman I had loved and trusted for 2 decades was gone, replaced by a stranger. In the days that followed, I reported the fraud to the credit card companies and began the divorce proceedings. Jessica chose to stay with me, and together, we navigated the emotional wreckage Patricia had left behind. It wasn't easy. There were tears, arguments, moments of doubt. But through it all, we leaned on each other. To my surprise, Patricia's family reached out to offer support. They were shocked by her actions but wanted to remain in Jessica's life, and in mine. Their kindness was a small comfort in the midst of the chaos. As the dust settled, I realized that while betrayal had torn our family apart, it had also opened the door to something new. Jessica and I focused on rebuilding our trust, our bond, our future. We talked openly about what had happened, ensuring she knew none of it was her fault. It wasn't the life I had envisioned, but it was ours. And together, we were determined to make it a good one.